June 22, 1941. The sky above the Bug River is still dark, the air heavy with the damp breath of early summer. Silence lies across the borderlands like a held breath. Then, at 3:15, the world erupts. A rolling thunder of artillery, thousands of guns speaking at once, flashes lighting the horizon from the Baltic to the Black Sea. Engines roar to life, diesel and gasoline snarling in unison. Dust begins to rise, thick and choking, as the first gray-green columns lurch forward. Motorcycles, half-tracks, trucks, and the low, menacing shapes of tanks. The invasion of the Soviet Union, Operation Barbarossa, has begun. In the southern sector of Army Group Center, one formation cuts deeper and faster than any other. It is Panzer Group 2, soon to be redesignated the 2nd Panzer Army, commanded by General Heinz Guderian. This is the spearhead that will prove, in blood and steel, the most devastating armored force Germany ever fielded. It is, without question, Germany's deadliest Panzer Army. The men who drive these machines are young, many still in their teens or early 20s, trained in the new doctrine of combined arms. They wear the black Panzer wrap, the death's head badge glinting on their collars, dust already coating their faces. Their tanks, mostly Panzer IIIs with the 50mm gun, some Panzer IVs with the short 75mm, move in tight, disciplined groups. Radio antennae whip above them, every vehicle linked by voice. This is no lumbering infantry support. This is mobile warfare reborn. Guderian's voice crackles over the net. Keep moving. Do not stop for anything except fuel or orders. The orders are simple. Penetrate, disrupt, encircle, destroy. The strategic necessity was brutal and clear. The Soviet Union fielded an army of millions, but it was spread thin, its command rigid, its tanks numerous but scattered and often obsolete. Hitler and his generals believed a swift, paralyzing blow could collapse the Red Army before winter. The Panzer armies were the instruments of that blow, fast, hard-hitting, designed to slice through defenses and trap entire fronts. No other army in the world had perfected this at such scale. The technical edge was subtle but decisive. The Panzer III, the workhorse of 1941, weighed 19 tons, carried a 5-man crew, and could reach 40 kilometers an hour on roads. Its gun could penetrate Soviet armor at 1,000 meters. The Panzer IV, heavier at 21 tons, brought a short-barreled 75mm howitzer ideal for infantry support and bunkers. Both had thick frontal armor, 30 to 50mm sloped, and, crucially, radios in every vehicle. Soviet tankers often relied on flags or runners. German commanders could shift entire battalions in minutes. Logistics were the weak point. Fuel bowsers, ammunition trucks, recovery vehicles. But in the opening weeks, the momentum masked the strain. The first days are a whirlwind. Panzer Group 2 crashes through the frontier defenses near Brest-Litovsk. Soviet border guards are overrun almost before they can fire a shot. By June 27th, the army has reached Minsk, 300 kilometers inside Soviet territory. The pincers close with Panzer Group 3 to the north. The Battle of Bialystok-Minsk. Over 300,000 Soviet soldiers are trapped. The roads are choked with prisoners shuffling west, heads bowed, while German tanks refuel and roll on. Guderian writes in his diary, "The enemy is completely surprised. His resistance is weak and disorganized. The dust is so thick that drivers navigate by compass, headlights useless in the muck." Then comes Smolensk. Late July 1941. The army lunges northeast, crossing the Dnieper under fire. Soviet counterattacks with T-34s and KV-1s appear, monsters with sloped armor and 76mm guns. But the Germans have learned to use speed and coordination. Panzer grenadiers dismount, anti-tank guns unlimber, Stukas scream down. The pocket forms. Another 300,000 prisoners, more than 2,000 tanks destroyed or captured. The Red Army's western front is gutted. Guderian's men are exhausted, machines worn, but morale is sky-high. They believe they are unbeatable. The greatest stroke comes in September, the Battle of Kiev. Hitler orders Guderian south, away from Moscow, to link with the 1st Panzer Army and encircle the Soviet southwest front. Guderian protests. He wants Moscow, but obeys. His tanks cover 400 kilometers in 2 weeks, a feat still studied in war colleges. On September 16th, the pincers meet at Lokvitsa. Inside the pocket, nearly 700,000 Soviet soldiers. It is the largest encirclement in history. The fields around Kiev become a graveyard of men and machines. German crews stand on their turrets, watching columns of prisoners snake toward the west. One panzer commander later recalled, "We felt like gods. Nothing could stop us." The psychological impact was catastrophic, for both sides. To the Red Army, the panzers were demons on tracks. Soviet soldiers spoke of the Black Death rolling across the steppe, unstoppable, merciless. Morale plummeted. Desertion spiked. Stalin executed generals, purged commands, but the fear remained. For the Germans, it was intoxicating. Tank crews sang as they advanced, confident the war would end by Christmas. Yet cracks were appearing. Fuel convoys lagged. Dust ruined engines. Casualties mounted from mines, ambushes, exhaustion. The men were thin, eyes hollow. Guderian himself, ever the driver, pushed his crews to the limit. Compared to their rivals, the 2nd Panzer Army stood apart. The Soviet armored forces were brave but tactically rigid. Their T-34s were superior in armor and gun, but scattered and poorly coordinated. French and British tanks in 1940 had been better armed on paper, but German combined arms tactics, tanks, infantry, artillery, air, overwhelmed them. The British had Matilda IS that could shrug off 37mm shells, yet Guderian's men bypassed them, cut supply lines, left them isolated. The 2nd Panzer Army's strength lay not in individual tank superiority, but in operational art, speed, surprise, encirclement. By October, the drive on Moscow resumes, Operation Typhoon. The army lunges toward Tula, the gateway to the capital. Again, they advance 200 kilometers in weeks. But autumn rains turn roads to mire. Tanks bog down. Men shiver in thin uniforms. Soviet reinforcements pour in. Siberian divisions, fresh, hardened. At Tula, the advance stalls. Guderian tries one last thrust toward Kashira, but Soviet cavalry and tanks counterattack. The thermometer drops to -30. Frostbite claims more than bullets. On December 5th, the Soviet winter offensive begins. The 2nd Panzer Army reels back, losing ground it had paid dearly for. Guderian is relieved on December 26th. His army survives, battered, but the myth of invincibility is shattered. The machine that had seemed unstoppable has been stopped. Yet the legacy endures. In 6 months, the 2nd Panzer Army had destroyed or captured over 1 million Soviet soldiers, thousands of tanks, and entire armies. It had demonstrated what concentrated armor could achieve when led with audacity and supported by air and infantry. The encirclements at Minsk, Smolensk, and Kiev broke the back of the Red Army's first line. Without them, the war in the East might have ended differently. In the years that followed, other panzer armies would fight, some with heavier Tigers and Panthers, some with greater desperation, but none matched the sheer destructive speed of those summer and autumn months of 1941. The 2nd Panzer Army remains the purest expression of Blitzkrieg, brilliant, ruthless, and ultimately fleeting. It showed the world what armored warfare could do, and what it could not sustain. In the end, the Deadliest Panzer Army did not win the war. But for a moment, it came closer than any other to breaking an empire. As we look back at these moments of history, I want you to know that you're not just viewers, you're family. Every story I bring to you, every piece of history we explore together, is for you. If you enjoyed this journey, please hit that like button, subscribe to join our family, and leave a comment to share your thoughts. Your support gives me the motivation to keep digging, keep researching, and create even more content that's just for you. Together, we keep history alive.